so glad to have you with us today. Right? We're gonna sing
Yeah, I'm
uh
saying, can I share this on Facebook?
mm-mm.
What? I can't share it?
It's not allowing you.
Nope. I hate this thing.
Hey, if you're on here watching us, do us a favor.
Like and
Share,
share, like and share.
like and share for us. Let us know if you're having a problem in the chat and to be able to share as well because Lisa said she can't share, but
I can't share.
right, try to share. Try to share us, guys. Help us out. Let everybody know we're here. And today we thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we wanted to talk about this market, right? Like, what's this market all about? And a lot of people, were thinking, oh, it's COVID and I could buy a house and I don't have to put, the best bid in. I can just a deal, but that's not the case. Like,
That's not the case.
yeah, that's not the case. We're in what's called a seller's market. So there's three markets. So one is the buyer's market. That's the one you all want to be in.
Right.
Right. That's the one
Exactly.
everybody want to be in. So
That's what y'all want to be in, right? That's not
right,
what we in, but that's what you want to be.
that's where you want to be, right? So a buyer's market means that there's a lot of property out here and little less people that are buying the property. So
Hmm.
a lot of inventory and less buyers. So that is a buyer's market. So then,
Hmm.
a lot of times during the buyer's market, people may go out and negotiate, their deal. You could ask for more, you can ask for credit towards your closing, you can ask for home warranty, you can ask them to do repairs of their house and they feel the need as the seller to do that. That's a buyer's market, right?
Hmm.
We're not there.
We are not there.
We're not there. We're not there. We're in what's called a seller's market.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So seller's market means that there's less inventory and there are lots of buyers. And so,
Mhm.
thanks to Lisa, let's see, Lisa, and all these wonderful lenders, and I guess what we say, Fannie Mae and
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Freddie
Yep.
Mac. So our
Hmm.
interest rate is really low. Has been lowest that we've ever had, right, Lisa?
This is the lowest that we have seen fixed interest rates in
Yeah.
mortgages came into existence. Yes.
So then a lot of people during this time had took advantage of that and they went ahead and got pre-approved. So, but the
Mhm.
only problem was a lot of people are not too willing to sell their property because of a few things. One, they probably don't know where to go because they don't know if they sell their house where they could go.
Yeah.
Two, they just might not just be ready. They're scared of just kind of selling during this time and stuff. So, whatever the reason that the sellers are kind of holding back, or you are holding back, right,
Yeah.
is causing what's called a seller's market. So,
And we've had
yeah.
a few different things, I think, Dion, that have contributed.
Hmm.
Obviously, the pandemic has had something to do with it because,
Yeah.
you have had people. I remember last year, there were a lot of people that, you got cooties, so you can't come to my house. you
Oh
know,
yes, right,
so
right.
they didn't want people coming in to, have a look around and things like that. And some people just decided, well, I don't want nobody coming to my house, so I'm not even going to put it on the market. And
Hmm.
then another thing that we've had, which is not really being talked about a whole lot, but it's still true. you have a lot of investors that have infiltrated this market.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and I don't mean just the mom and pop investors, like, where we see somebody took a class with, Than Merrill, flipped that house or whatever, and now they think they're a real estate investor. I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about the big players too. I'm licensed in a couple of different states, and I was having a conversation with another realtor that I work with, only because she's not in this state. She's in Indiana. So she was telling me how in Indiana, she's had a lot of, her homes that she have listed for her customers that are being picked up by huge investors. Like they can come in like, oh, you need 150,000 for this house, no problem, we'll take 10. Those kind of investors, and so you can't compete with that. It's hard to compete with that. So when they pick up inventory like that, then we kind of getting what's left over, so to speak.
So are the investors coming to us because Chicago or Illinois is a big renters area as well, and so there a lot of people they know that they can rent homes to us?
Yeah, you do see, actually, that's another thing that she and I had talked about, is that, and actually I had the same conversation with the customer who's, pre-approved to buy and everything right now. But yeah, you have people out of the country that are investing in the real estate market here in the Chicagoland area. They're coming in buying properties, single family and multifamily, to rent out. Because they know they can get that good money, on that rent, because they know how much we charge for rent. So, and our houses are not like, say, for example, the California market, they have a higher cost of living. So while their rents may be much more expensive, their houses are too. Like a house here that costs $250,000, probably in California would cost more like $700,000.
Yeah, and so, I've had a lot of California investors that have come, worked with me as far as purchasing property here for rental, and basically that's what they say. So that's another thing that we need to consider as as renters. I could probably own my own home, but so let's talk about in the seller's market. There's a few things that you need to know when you're out here buying a house, right?
Yeah.
So at first, of course, the first thing is that you got to get your pre-approval. For
here.
Right. For your loan, you got to get pre-approved. And then once we get the pre-approval, one of the things that we have to look at, which is important, is taxes. So, we talked a little bit about taxes last week. Taxes is always important when you're looking to purchase a house, because that determines how much you actually can afford. Right. So now, we're ready to place an offer on a home. Remember, you have to first thing be realistic about what market you're in, right? We're in the seller's market. So you looked at the house and you loved it. So there's at least 5, 6, man, I've seen 50 people. I've heard 50 people offering on the same house.
Yeah.
So, so when it's not can I put an offer and then they counter my offer? No. Yeah, they're not going to do that. So we have to make sure that we're putting in a strong offer. So you only get one chance, and we got to make sure it's the best, right? So it's got to be your best offer. They're not going to come back and counter offer you. In the seller's market, there's no such thing as a counter offer.
So what are we looking at then, Dion? What does that look like when you say you have to come in with a strong offer? So, some people that may listen in, they may be first-time buyers. Some of this terminology might not really make sense. What does that mean? Strong offer, what does that mean?
Well, so the house is listed for, $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
As a realtor, I have to do what is called a market analysis, comparables, get some comparables to see what the houses have sold in the area. And
Okay.
so then we have to decide, okay, so that's called comps. So I run some comps for you. But then now I have to decide, okay, the house is priced right, but we know that other people are out here also going to put an offer down. So
Right.
there's a few things that we could do in order to make your offer better, right? So we might have to offer more money, more than the asking price. Um,
Okay. So
you know,
instead of offering 200,000, you offer.
maybe 210, 215,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. It just kind of depends on the house, how much you really like the house. Um, Also understand that the house has to appraise out. So that's with the lender. So say for
That's a big
instance,
deal.
right, we had say for instance we offered 215 on the house. We still Lisa and team, and they have an appraiser that goes out and they say that the house is worth only 210. We've offered 215. So now what happens to that extra 5,000, right?
Mhm.
um in the offer, maybe you have extra money and you really want the house and you really like the house, and so we'll say we'll pay 2,000, 3,000 over the appraised value. Some people in different states, they're paying 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to
Yeah.
I try to be conservative to my market, right? So maybe
Excuse
you have
me.
a little cash, so we say, so that might become tempting for the seller. They're like, okay, she put this big offer in and she's still willing to pay that extra money, but that money comes from you, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so
And some people are doing that up front. I have seen that where when they place an offer, they already write into the contract, hey, if the appraised value comes in, or let's say it this way, we are willing to pay X amount of dollars in cash over the asking price.
right,
But
over
to
the
say what
appraised
that is
price.
right up front. So like
Mhm.
maybe you say in this case, the house is 200, you get an offer, you make the offer for 215,000, and say the appraised value comes in at 205, but you've already agreed at the very beginning of the transaction that you will pay 10,000 more than what the appraised value is. So it comes in at 205. You already agreed you would pay that extra 10,000. So you guys are good.
Right,
There's no negotiating. Negotiating already took place right up front.
up front.
Sometimes something like that makes the seller feel a little bit more at ease because
Hmm.
they know there's a guarantee as to what they can get. Appraisals are like the most nerve-wracking part of the transaction. That and waiting for the clear to close. Those are probably
Right,
the most nerve-wracking because everybody's always concerned because they know as a lender, if the value is not there, we're not going to place a lien on that house.
right.
So that money has to come from someplace else, or you have to do what a lot of people have done. They agree, okay, you know what? I see the value is not there. So we're going to agree to sell you the price for the value that the appraiser has attributed to the property instead.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can do that too. But sellers don't really want to do that. They prefer obviously to get more money. Hey, you want more money or less money? I think I'll take less money, Alex. No, that's usually not how it works, right?
Right, right.
They want to get more money. So if they have something that's already in place where they know that they can get the more money and how much of it that might be, then sometimes that makes them feel more comfortable. And your offer comes across a little bit stronger than somebody say who didn't, make a definitive agreement that yes, I will pay this. I have this extra money and I'll do that. So
Right. Yeah. So yeah, so that's definitely a way of trying to win the offer. Another way
mhm,
is we've gone in the house and we've looked around. We don't really see anything visibly wrong. that looks scary. So you could say we would accept the house as is.
Okay. So you mean you'll waive the inspection?
So typically we don't waive the inspection because that's another thing you could do as well. You could waive the
Okay.
inspection or you could do it as is. So say for instance you do it as is, but you could still do the home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get an understanding of what's happening with the house. I
Yeah,
always think you should do the home inspection.
I do
Waiving,
too. I-
yeah, waiving the inspection is a possibility, but I'd rather you do the inspection, say as is. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do the inspection, and then maybe you come back and say, okay, I know I said as I know I said as,
You're right.
but your plumbing,
But I didn't know that your foundation was cracked in
right,
25 different
right,
places.
your roof is falling in, like right, all of that. So then you don't have to ask them to do any work, but you can ask
Yeah.
them for a credit towards your closing.
Okay.
So and there's so much that you could get. So Lisa, how much like typically can you ask for a loan?
We do mostly FHA financing with our customers. So for FHA, it's up to 6%.
Up to 6%, right?
Yeah.
So then you can get that much going towards your closing costs. So that's less money that you have to bring to closing to the table when you sign it. And then you'll take that money that you would have had to bring to closing to do the work that you need to do, the electrical
Yeah.
or any of those other things. So, all right.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So anything else you can do for a strong offer, or do you think that's pretty much it?
Yeah, we kind of talked about waiving the inspection. A lot of times nowadays, typically you're always given a pre-approval, but you also could give a show proof of funds that you do have the money towards closing. So that
That's
just
a good
kind of helps
idea.
out as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Now, people cannot really ask you though for your personal financial information. That's privileged information. You don't have to share that. Like
Yeah,
as a hello, if somebody said, hey, how much money do such and such have in the bank? They have enough to complete this transaction.
right.
That's going to be my answer, because I'm not going to give out their information because that's their personal financial information. That kind of information is protected. It's not something that's supposed to be public, so you don't just give it to anybody. I mean, obviously it's your information, so if you choose to do that, that's completely up to you. You can. I don't, as a loan originator, I don't give out your information.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what she said. A lot of times, it's really up to you whether it's something you want to do. Now, a lot of times, people they used to write a letter, like, "Oh, I'm gonna write a letter and let them know who I am, and they'll want to sell to me." Well,
They're looking at 50 letters though now, are they?
right, they're not looking at no letters, and actually, it's not allowed within real
Really?
estate anymore. So it
Really?
is a fair housing issue
Wow.
because because basically the person can say, I have 3 kids and so that's fair housing. So now the person says, I don't want to I don't want to sell my house to a person with children,
Hmm.
right? So or whatever, it could actually cause an issue. So as a realtor, and I'm on the seller side, I should not share those letters so that the seller is influenced in the wrong way. So I know
Wow.
I get a lot of clients now, like, can I write a letter?
Hmm.
No.
Well, so I had somebody who this is just a family member who just recently went and they placed an offer in the home. They got the bid. Their offer was accepted, but there was actually an offer that was higher and probably a little bit better than their offer. And what made the difference for them from what the sellers told them was that they liked them as individuals. They felt that they would, when they came with the entire family when they went to go look at the house, and the sellers were there. They liked, they kind of vibe with them, I guess, or whatever. So, they liked how they were. They appreciated them, having a family. They saw the kids looking around like, oh, can we do this? Would this be my room? Stuff like that.
So they were excited.
So for them, that, it wasn't a letter, because
right.
letters, like you said, but them all going there as a family and how they behaved and presented themselves actually swayed the seller to sell the house to them instead. So
yeah, so that's nice. I don't like my sellers to be at the house. Because they like to talk in that case, and so then they start to, nothing wrong with that ceiling fan over there. That big hole over there. They start to share a little bit too much.
Too much, like y'all need to be quiet.
Right. Right. So it's hard. It depends, as far as but that's definitely good, that they came in and they established a rapport with them, and so then they were able to get it. So that is good.
Another thing, I know, like right now we do have turn times that are a little bit higher because and that's typical for this time of year. We're at the height of the real estate season. So loans are not getting closed as fast as they would be if we was in February.
Yeah.
And it's 10 inches of snow. So it is making a difference. But being able to agree, like say for example, if somebody is saying, okay, well, my lender is saying I can't close for 90 days, and the other person says, well, I can close in 60. Right. That may make a difference if a time frame, is something that they're considering as far as when to fit along with their plans. Because you got to remember, everything is all connected. So it's a possibility that the sale of their house may be a requirement for the purchase of their new house. So they may be on some kind of a special time frame themselves, and sometimes just when you're able to close can make a difference. So know how to negotiate that out. Usually after I talk to a listing agent, whatever concerns they've had, usually I'm able to alleviate those concerns.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they call me, well, did you check out this? Did you do that? Listen, let me tell you something. I don't do pre-qualifications. I only do pre-approvals. That means I do a thorough job of making sure everything, all ducks in a row right up front. So when we have that conversation, and usually once we have that conversation, their concerns and their fears are alleviated, So then most of the times, if the offer was strong enough, then they'll be comfortable with going, with my customer, our customer, because we're working as a team. But being able to have a lender that is confident, that's comfortable enough to have those conversations with the listing agent and not intimidated. I'm not easily intimidated. You know that. But so not intimidated, because when they call, people are like, oh, why are they calling me? Listen, I understand you have your interests that you need to protect and you're looking out for and trying to do the best job for your customer. Let me know what I did already before we met you, to make sure that things are in place the way that they need to be.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too, is to make sure that you do have a good lender that's willing to communicate, because the hard part is being on the buyer side, and then the seller is asking what's happening with the loan, and you're like, let me check with the lender, and it just be nice. I mean, Lisa does a great job. There are lenders out here that really communicating throughout the transaction in some type of way, and so that's a good thing. So when you're out looking for a lender, we first gonna stop at Lisa. But
right, you don't need to go no further. I got you.
right. You won't go no further. But you make sure that you try to find out, are they a good communicator? Do they respond to your calls and let you know what's happening, or want to share and talk to you? Because then maybe if they're not doing it to you, they're not going to do it to the people that you need them to talk to. Because a lot of listing agents do. They definitely do call the lenders. So.
Right. Well, one of the things, so if I could just put, it's not really a plug, but it is my actual experience. One of the things that most people typically will say to me after they talk to me is that they've learned a lot. They have one conversation with me and they say, I've been talking to, this other lender for the past, 6 months. And I got more information from you out of this 120-minute conversation that I have from them in the whole time that we've been communicating with one another. So, one of the things that I pride myself on that I think I do different, I don't think it should be different. I think it's what everybody should do. But I think it is something that I do different. It is when you talk to me, I try to make sure, one, that you understand and put myself in your shoes, because I've been a first-time home buyer, and even as somebody who was an experienced lender at the time, it still was not an easy process. It wasn't. Yeah. There were hiccups, there were bumps in the road. Fortunately, because of my experience, I knew exactly what to do. So I put the heat on, I put the pressure on, and say, hey, listen, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Why isn't this done? I knew what to do. But a lot of times people don't, and it's scary to them. They don't mean to be offensive to you. They don't mean to come down on you, but they're unsure. They don't know what's going to happen. So my remedy for that is just a little bit of education. Here, this is what you can expect. This is what is typical. I'll let you know when to freak out. I know when to freak out. Right. And if I'm not freaking out, you shouldn't be freaking out either. Because if anybody knows when to act crazy and things not going well, trust me, I will be that person. And you will know, because I don't like to freak out by myself. I want some company. So I'm going to tell you.
But I think that's right, and I think that's true. That's one. I think it's definitely great to, as you guys see, we want to make sure that our clients are educated on the process, and we try to step you all the way through the process, through, so that when you're out there buying, what the next steps are. So it's very important. Because I think it eases you, and then it eases us as well, that you're informed and know what's going to happen next. So,
absolutely.
Another thing, just a quick thing, because we're really close to our 30 minutes, but I want to express this one last thing. A lot of times we're stuck in a certain area, right? And so we're saying, I'm searching in this area only. And during this seller's market, you have to kind of be a little bit more open-minded and just look outside of your box, right? So I want to be, I only want to be in Beverly. I only want to be there. I want to look somewhere else. There's a lot of nice houses, a lot of nice areas. So you probably got to expand just a little bit more than the norm, right?
Yep.
So
definitely agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thanks, Janita.
Right. Oh, we did get, yes. Thank you, Janita. Anybody else have any other questions that they need?
I didn't see any questions come up. I just saw a couple of comments from Janita, saying it was good information, and it's really important, what we were talking about as far as communicating and things like that. So
thank you. So next week, same time, same location.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And let us know if you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about. We're always here for you. Thanks.
She said, when will the seller's market end? Girl.
So that's an interesting question, because one of the things that we do really, prices are going up, and they're actually going to continue to stay up, because you're doing market analysis. When I list a house, I'm going to look at comp. And I'm going to look at prices for the last 6 months. So now this house sold for more than its norm. So then that market price increases. So right now we're in this increase of pricing. So that's one thing. Probably next year we're gonna see where the house, maybe a house was 250 or something like that, and now they're 285. That
Yeah.
market where we used to have like 151. I don't even know if that exists anymore. Right. So those are things. And then will the selling market end? We need people to sell. We need you to sell. And so it's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to end this year. I don't think it's going to end next year either. Because it seems like the way that things are headed, we're continuing. And the government is, steadily involved in what's happening as far as helping things recoup economically. So that's allowing us as lenders to keep rates low. So you're still going to have a bunch of people say, wow, I can still get a mortgage, with a 3.5% or 4% interest rate, let's do it. It's affordable. We can make it work, things like that. So I think with all those different things that are falling into, play, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. Maybe probably into next year, I would think. And we actually have to see what's going to happen after next year. But I think it's
and
we
might not go to a buyer's market. We just might go to what is the third market, which is just a normal market, right?
Yeah,
so enough buyers and enough sellers that we just have just a regular market. So.
All right. This is a good discussion, Dion.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good Wednesday.